All right, guys, I got a special guest here today on Pure Evil MMA podcast. Just coming off a 45-second knockout, beautiful fashion. Kind of a controversial fight, so I wanna ask a couple questions about that because now I was hanging out with you two guys after the fight, but let's talk about beforehand, before this fight even happened. You're matched up with Alexander Olave, who's been on the show before. How did this matchup come about? Was it somebody that you had your eyes set on, or how did this find its way to you?
I had a few people that I known, like I fought in Virginia a few times now, and I had heard through the grapevine that he was fighting on the card, and I watched a few of his fights, and I was very much interested in the matchup. Being online has always been a big thing for me, so it was awesome to get the opportunity.
Well, the one thing about Muay Thai that I love is that there's so much respect in the sport. No matter what happens during the fight afterwards, no matter what fight, no matter what competition, you don't see that a lot. In Muay Thai, you see everyone bow afterwards, but there's been some controversy in the fight because Alexander, of course, went around the ring. Did that faze you at all during the fight? Did that bother you? I mean, can we clear this up?
So at the time, of course, when I was facing the opposite way, facing my coach, when I turned around and I saw him there, I was just like, whoa, what's this dude doing over here? Didn't really bother me or anything. At the end of the day, to me, it's a fight game, so I know that stuff sells to people, right? Like everyone can mean mug, but for me, it's when fight is on, that's what it is.
So did that kind of get you fired up? Did your coaches say, did anything happen before the fight? Did you guys talk? I mean, what was it like, before the fight even happened? Was there a reason for him to do that, or was it just, him trying to put on a show?
I think so. I did have the opportunity. We weighed in on the day prior, right? And he's been a cool dude. We were talking. He's saying I've watched some of your fights, blah blah. He seemed like a nice dude. I think a bit of it was just show maybe get some hyped up or so. And the night before, at the weigh-ins, he did a little he was mouthing something off to me. I couldn't see what it was or hear anything. But I think it's just that's how he gets hyped up. I think to each their own, right?
We see that a lot with Cody No Love. Cody No Love, even if there's nothing going on at all, he needs something to kind of get him pumped up. Even, Biz Bang, he'll bring stuff up. But in Muay Thai, you don't see that a lot. And I think that's why, I've seen a lot of headlines about that fight. And of course, it ended in 45 seconds. So, did you see it even happening that quick? I mean, there were 3 knockdowns. For everybody that didn't tune into the fight, it only lasted 45 seconds, and before that, you knocked him down twice. I mean, what was going through your head, after you knocked him down the second time? Did you want to get that final punch? What was going on there?
So the first punch, I think landed it felt like butter. It just landed and he dropped, right? The second one, when you watch the video, I'm very hyped up and I want to jump on him right away. And I think I just threw a bunch of punches and I was going for the highlight reel. I wanted to kick his head off. You'll see there's one part where as he's falling down in the vid, I try to kick him as he's going down. But the last knockdown, I just remember chasing him around the ring and hearing my coach yell to me. He's like, elbow, elbow. And right at that time is when I threw the right elbow and it landed flush on his chin.
So were you surprised that he came after you? After being dropped twice, were you surprised that he was still pouring the pressure onto you? Do you think he knew where he was? Have you been in a similar situation where you can relate to that?
I've been rocked or so. I think the biggest thing for me is in terms of I go in survival mode. I'll try to clinch up and base off the bat. I think he came out swinging the whole fight, right? He just kept throwing punches, even when he went down 2 times, right?
Yeah.
I think it was just a matter of making sure none of those punches landed because we knew he was going to come out. Our game plan was he's probably going to be loopy, throwing crazy stuff. A big thing we planned beforehand was really utilizing the right hand and right weapons. So he's a southpaw, either right knee, right kick, or right cross, or right elbow, right?
So he actually does MMA fights as well.
Yeah.
He's over in MMA, in Muay Thai. So were you expecting more of a brawl over than a classic kickboxing or classic Muay Thai fight? Were you guys expecting more of a brawl going
Yeah,
into it?
I'd say we were expecting more like Brawl. In previous interviews, I've told people like I don't think he's like a traditional or like traditional Thai style sort of thing. He kind of throws unorthodox type stuff, which works because like sometimes it really throws people off, right? If I'm so used to traditional like 1-2 kick or whatever, and some guy throws 1-2 and some crazy like I don't know backhand like back spinning back fist, right? Like we were predicting that sort of stuff from him.
So where did you guys leave off after this fight? Because like I've been saying, in case everybody has been following along with this, there's been a lot of headlines, people feeling like he was disrespecting you, felt like he got what he deserved there. But like I said, it's Muay Thai. It's not MMA. It's not
Yeah.
boxing. It's a little different. And everyone that's watching this, in case anyone's listening to the podcast on iTunes, you can go onto the YouTube channel for Pure Evil MMA. You can actually see a picture of me, Eric, and Alexander all chilling after the fight. So what did you guys do? I mean, what was that first interaction like after the fight? Because he did stare you down. The whole knockout was there. Well, how did that first interaction go after following the fight?
I think initially he was a little out of it. Like he came up to me and he didn't even know we had fought. Like he was like, are we fighting or whatever? And
Oh,
then
really?
I guess his corner was asking, like explaining everything to him. He said he wanted a rematch like right away.
Were
And
you surprised that he said that?
I mean, that's everyone, right? Like everyone, no one likes losing, so like it
Yeah.
wasn't a surprise to me. By the time I just said like, yeah, cool. And then afterwards, we were actually hanging out by the ring when the whole event like concluded. And I mean, he was just like a genuine guy, being like, like I do that for stir things up, and that's what it is. Like that shit sells tickets, right? So
So just to clear up all these headlines, everyone saying that it's disrespectful, you're just saying that it's something that we kind of need in this sport, is that little entertainment, as long as there is peace at the end of the fight.
yeah, and like I think for me that's fine. Like I think traditionally everyone is very respectful in Muay Thai, but it depends. To each their own, right? Like I'm not gonna knock a fighter for being the way they are, right? Whatever
So
gets them up and ready.
So I got to ask you this. I was scrolling through your Instagram. I have a couple more fight questions for you too. Some
Yeah.
follow-ups to where you're heading and whatnot. But I have to ask you this. I was scrolling through your Instagram, and you're just like chilling in where did you go? You went on vacation somewhere, and there was running of the bulls. There's bulls everywhere, and you're like
Yeah,
right in
yeah,
the
yeah.
middle there. What's going on there? What's the story with that?
That was just last year. I went out to Portugal with my family, and the island
Portugal,
we're
okay.
from, the Azores, has the bullfights there.
So what was that like, man? You were like literally right there in the streets. Like that bull could have just started charging at you. Did you feel safe? Like, what convinced you to get that close?
I thought it was a cool experience. So I went down there. My brother and I we went down there, and the bull's pretty much just running like straight on the street. Like it can come towards you at any point. Uh, because it was a family trip, I don't think my parents are pretty happy with us, but I think it was a cool thing to go do. In that video, I think the guys who will have the balls are the guys with the umbrellas who are actually being charged at by the bulls.
Guys, you got to go check this out on his Instagram. Unfortunately, he doesn't have Twitter right this second, which I totally suggest you jumping on Twitter, because that's the best place to interact with your fans. And Lion Fights does a great job promoting people that are, coming up in the ranks, especially over here on the East Coast. So, you should definitely jump on there. But for everybody listening, make sure to follow Eric at Rocha Eric _. That's ROCHAERIC _. Now, what's next for you? I mean, have you trained overseas? Have you trained in Thailand? Like, what's your Muay Thai background?
Yeah, I did. I did a couple like quite some time in Thailand at one point, but majority of my experience, I mean, we have a pretty big Muay Thai community out. I'm from Canada, so like we have a big population of like Muay Thai community, and only recently did like amateur fights become sanctioned. Um, During my amateur days, I was traveling to stateside like all the time.
Was that
Um,
difficult for you to do?
it was difficult, and even now, I don't think it's easiest for me to get fights. Like it's always some sort of negotiation. I gotta come fight some hometown hero, some highlight like big shot guy, right? Um, I think like this fight opened up a lot of doors, right? Like it showcased. Like for me, I want to show people like it wasn't a fluke, right? Like I think I got the skills, like and I want to show everybody, right? So we'll see what happens
We
from here.
were going crazy. Like I was right there ringside, and we were going absolutely nuts. And then right after you, the follow up with the Amin fight, it was just like knockout after knockout. Lion Fight 37 was one of the best events I've seen so far this year. You definitely, out of all the fighters afterwards, I was like, I need to get this guy on the show. 45-second knockout, man. You're on Access TV. Have you seen the replays? He heard like what Pat was saying about you and all that.
Yeah, I watched it several times, and like yesterday, they released like top three knockouts from that night. That night was full of great fights, I think, and like I was on there, and I was like, this is awesome. Like,
What other were you able to watch the rest of the event?
by the time I finished like going around seeing people and everything, I got up for the chip fight and the last one with Analog. Yeah,
So I actually had both those guys on here, Chip and uh, and Paul. What did you think about their performance?
I think it was a good show. Both guys are, and like I'm sure on everyone's mind was there's that big height difference. Well, Paul was definitely a lot taller. I think Chip was the shorter, stockier dude. I like Chip's. Chip had some good head movement and everything in that fight. He was looking really good.
He was
Like,
fast too.
yeah,
There's big speed advantage there.
yeah, and like I think that the whole fight was very very close, and then that head kick at the end like sealed the deal for that fight. It's crazy.
Absolutely beautiful. It's such an exciting event that Lion Fight put on. I think they put on some great matchups. So shout out to Scott Zier for setting up. He's actually the matchmaker over there. What's next for you, man? I mean, where are your sights headed now? Like, have you talked to your team? Has anybody come to mind? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, we're looking. I've been again talking to Scott. Like I want to get back on Lion Fight. Like I think that's one of my priorities. It's always been like a thing for me. I want to get back out there. Um, After this fight, man, my phone was blowing up in terms of there's a bunch of people like that I was talking to previously that are now like, let's get this show going, or whatever. But honestly, like, Lion Fight puts on a good show. We'll see what happens. I hope get out there. We'll see.
You think Lion Fight's where you'll be able to bloom in your career? The spotlight's there. You got Pat, like I said. Access TV is huge. And,
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact numbers were, but when you have somebody like Smokin' Joe headlining or Jarena Barge, the girl who beat Cyborg, that's a good promotion to be under.
Yeah, yeah. It's been like I think it's a show that like everyone who is into Muay Thai, that's like something that they watch, right? They know it's known for putting on the good events, right?
So I know that they have a show coming up September 29th. Any interest in trying to jump on that? Is that even possible?
No,
That soon?
that's what we're aiming for. We've been talking to them for potentially September. Uh, no specific individual matched up or so right now. I think a lot of it has been me just voicing like my coach slash manager. We've been saying like we want to work towards something. So like, what's like a weight that we can work towards? Like I'm the guy who likes goals. Like I love fighting, but like at the end of the day, I want to achieve something great. You know?
So this fight puts you on a 5-3 run. What gym do you actually train out of? And anyone else in that gym fight for Lion Fights or Bellator or CES or any other promotions? Who are you around? Who are you training with? Who are your coaches?
So I'm out at a gym called MAFA. It stands for Martial Arts Fitness Academy. We break down in everything the acronyms. um, in terms of professionally, right now we have just myself fighting Thai. We have a lot of amateur Thai fighters, and we have a guy Adam DeFritis. He's looking to go pro in MMA. Like I'm hoping that happens for him soon because even within MMA here in Ontario, it's not the easiest finding fights, and like he's just running through guys. Like I hope great things happen for him.
I'm interested to ask you this. I got two questions, two Canadian questions for you that I'm kind of interested in.
Okay.
Number one, is MMA bigger over there or is it Muay Thai? Is Muay Thai bigger over there? Like, what do you say is bigger?
So for me, I'm a big I'm a big part of like the Muay Thai community out here. Like in terms of within like the Toronto area, like several gyms get together. Even myself during like a training camp, I'll send out a
Cross
message to
training.
you guys. Yeah, and bring them over. So right. Um, it's hard because like I guess it's hit or miss depending on events. Some days are like huge. Even when we had a few UFC events out here in Toronto, and like they were rammed. Like people love fighting out here. Like if we could have several professional like events, I'm sure it'd go crazy out here.
Have you been to a UFC event out there?
Yeah, I went. My first like was their first UFC, the Aldo versus Hominick fight.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow. When he had that big, huge
he had like, this crater.
hematoma on his head.
That was a
Wow.
crazy fight to watch, and like because I'm like it was tough for me because it was like Canada versus like Aldo who has like that Thai background, so I was like, this could go, I don't care how it happens, you know.
That was a crazy fight. My second question to you is GSP, of course, fights out of Canada over at TriStar out there. You got Wonder Boy, cross training over there. Who do you want to see him fight next? I mean, there's talk about Bisbing, Woodley. What's the better fight? What are the Canadians more behind there?
For I, again, like I think it really depends. I think in terms of GSP, always takes I feel like he takes a safer fight or so. Uh, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what his camp decides, right? I don't have him. Either way, it'll be exciting, you know. Like in terms of like someone from Canada's fighting for me, but that's what I care about, you know.
And are you surprised that they're having it in New York City at Madison Square Garden over having it in Canada? Because when he had that headline card in Canada, it was one of the biggest events, one of the loudest events, so to say, in the UFC's ever had. So does it kind of surprise you guys that they're not bringing GSP home for you guys to celebrate around?
Yeah, I guess it does suck. I mean, people would love it if it was here. I'm out at like Madison Square Garden. I'm sure it's a great venue, right? So I'm sure they're gonna sell crazy tickets out there. But it would be awesome if it was on our side.
I'm surprised, so I had to see what you had to say about this. So moving on, one last question. What can the
Yeah.
fans expect from you in the next couple of months here? If they go check out your Instagram, what kind of stuff do you post on there to, in case anybody saw the fight, they're interested, now they're going to jump on your profile, what can they expect from you?
I mean, most of my stuff now has been a lot of training type stuff. Recently it was obviously because of the fight. A lot of it is just me training. Aside from this, like I train. I work a full time job. So like I got early mornings training, go to work. I pretty much finish work and go back to training. So a lot of my videos are up about like me going places and training and whatnot. So
that highlight, man, one of the best highlights of Lion Fight 37. I want to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. What I like to do to end the interview off is, if you have any sponsors, any shout outs to coaches or anybody at all, the floor is all yours now.
yeah, I guess I'll go to my coaches first. Gerald Ching, Bradley, they were both in my corner. Like these guys are guys I love. In terms of my pad holder, I had going into this one, Brian. Man, this guy would wake up like 5 a.m. and he'd come and hold pads for me early morning. I think the biggest thing is my coach would show up, and Gerald, like he loves watching. Like he's the brains behind everything. I feel I put in the hard work, but he's got like the ideas. In terms of, like family, friends, like they all support me. My sponsors, I'm sponsored by Kimura Wear. They provide me with all my gear. I have Campbell Bader. They're a law company. Love those guys. They support me through everything. Other than that, I have my own personal trainer who helps with strength and conditioning, Zach Adore. And without that guy, I wouldn't have the knockout power.
There you go, and we definitely enjoy that knockout power for sure. Before we let you go, I was sitting next to Phoenix Carnivale, who I don't know if you're familiar with, but she's a really big correspondent. She was, backstage correspondent, matter of fact. She was just on Matt Serra's podcast, UFC Unfiltered. The second that you got that knockout, she looked over at me and her jaw just dropped, man. So I got to congratulate you on catching so many people's attention. Even Pat Miletich was freaking out, man. So thank you so much for joining us, clearing the air of all the, the bad headlines there. I'm sure Alexander would appreciate that as well. I actually tried getting him on here to talk with you kind of clear that up. But I think you did a great job, and we're looking forward to what's next. So thanks for joining us on Pure Evil MMA.
Thanks a lot. Take care, guys.